Hey guys, what's up? In this clip, I've got a little gameplay from Destiny here. This match went pretty good. It's one of my better matches, just to show off, just because it was fun. But anyways, I'm gonna talk about today. I was just gonna reach out and talk about the reception of Destiny, and also kind of in general the reception of the PS4 this year. It's been quite interesting, and we got some games coming up, this holiday season, and I feel like ultimately I'm titling this clip the death of Destiny, because I think that Destiny's going to die down quite a bit now. I mean, there's still going to be definitely people out there playing it, but I think the game is kind of dying off right now, and with the release of some of the new games coming up, I think it's really gonna take a huge hit. So yeah, basically this year, let's talk about this year so far with the PlayStation 4. So far, I mean, the PlayStation 4 has the best sales of the new systems. I mean, it's got some of the, I think it's at 14 million or something like that. And Sony's considering it is a success, and I would say as a system, it's a decent success when it comes to the numbers, but if anyone who knows had a PlayStation 4, this year has actually been very slow on the games. There hasn't been a ton of good game releases coming out, and I think a lot of the games that people were looking forward to that were going to come out this year are going to be pushed back to 2015. There's a handful of games that are getting pushed back to 2015. And so this year we're kind of left with the same thing we've been left over and over with, which is Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 4. That's also going to be a big title, but it's just kind of more of the same. And we haven't seen any huge new innovations coming really yet. We haven't seen any. I would say we haven't seen any true next gen games yet, because next gen means something that you could not do previously. And I mean, you couldn't do the graphics previously, and so but if you think about it, Destiny was on the previous consoles. The Assassin's Creed Unity is actually going to be PS4 exclusive. Advanced Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is actually being remade slightly different for the old consoles. So it is definitely it's kind of is taking things into the next generation, but when it comes to gameplay, I haven't seen any real huge innovations taking place yet. And games like No Man's Sky and is one of them that I could think of that sounds like a truly next gen game, because that's just the mind-boggling amount of stuff that you're gonna be able to do in that game. Or if they're able to pull it off, we'll see. I really have doubts and questions about that game, because the guy who constantly was going out to the media kept talking about it over and over. They've said so much about it, but they haven't shown very much. They showed a couple trailers or something, but they haven't really got a hands-on running thing going yet. So, but the vision of it's really cool. Anyways, in general, I just feel like the market, a lot of these games that people were really hyped up for, Watch Dogs, for example, it was commercially successful, but it didn't do. Oh, here it is on this gameplay right now. I kept trying to fight this guy in this corner over here, and he just kept. I hit most of the deaths I had in this from him. It was a really bad move on my part, but overall, this is a good match. Anyways, games that people were really hyped up for the next gen. I know Watch Dogs is one of the big ones that got pushed back. It was going to come out last year. It got pushed back to this year. I don't feel like they delivered I don't feel like they ended up not delivering as much as people were expecting them to. Commercially it did okay. Actually, they made money off it. I think they're already planning for a sequel. But for me, for example, it does look like more of the same. I mean, it's a prettier looking Grand Theft Auto. And then another big game that was huge, speaking of Gran Turismo, another big game that was huge was Drive Club. Drive Club was the big game that people were looking forward to in October, and that didn't deliver very well, and people were really disappointed. And then you have Destiny. And Destiny, I feel like in general, it's a pretty good game. You know, the gunplay in it's good. The multiplayer is decent. It's a fun game to play. It was fun to play for what it is, but it's definitely going to be phasing out now. And is it going to be questionable to see how many people really get the DLC that comes out later? Because I think the conversion ratio is going to be far, far lower than the actual sales of the game. I think so far it is the top selling game of the year. Actually, Destiny is. It's the top selling game of the year. So, I mean, it's doing good, but when it comes to the people actually liking it, it's taken a fairly, mixed reviews from people. Some people had problems with it. Others, played it for what it was. But it just, in general, the content didn't deliver on what Bungie was saying. Like, the things that they were wanting and the things that they were gearing this game up to be kind of didn't deliver. Like, is decent, but it wasn't like a home run, and it wasn't a knock out of the park. And so far, I feel like with the next gen in PS4, there hasn't been any huge home runs. There hasn't been anything that has just been amazing and just like a killer app kind of game where you're like, I have to have a PS4 for it. Yeah, so far, I mean, that's how it's going. And so now we got some games coming up that could be a killer app. They could be those next gen games that you just gotta have. You just gotta, you want to check it out, you want to play it and see what it's all about. But it's not shaping up to be that way for the rest of the year. So I mean, I'll just go over some of the games that are coming out in the future and things that might be changing. But we got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare coming out on Tuesday. And here's the end of this match right here. But I got another little clip just of some gameplay just as I wrap up this commentary. But yeah, we got the next game coming out, Call of Duty. It's coming out on Monday. So, and I think a lot of people that are playing Destiny are going to shift over to Call of Duty. I've seen gameplay of Call of Duty so far, and it does look pretty decent. It looks pretty fun. Like the air dashing and the jumping around looks really interesting. You can dash left to right in it. It looks like a lot of new abilities look pretty cool. So far what I've seen of the gameplay, it has the potential to. It looks pretty fun, and I think people are going to be surprised because Ghost was such a failure, and people. I mean, it wasn't a total failure. I mean, it had a lot of sales, and there's a decent amount of people that still play it, but in general, it's considered one of the lower level Call of Duty games. The reception for it wasn't as good as other ones, and people went back and played on a long-term perspective. People went back and played Black Ops 2 because they liked that game. So, anyways, we'll have to see what happens with the Advanced Warfare. But for what is shaping up, it does look like it's going to outperform Ghosts, and I think people such that lower expectations because of Ghost are going to actually be a little bit wowed because they're going to be like, oh wow, this is actually interesting. I'm surprised, and it's pretty fun. There's already been a couple YouTubers putting out stuff saying that it's good. So because of that, I think that Destiny is going to have a huge drop off, and it really is kind of the death of a game. It's going to really drop off. The value of the game has dropped. It was worth about 40, 45. Now it's already dropping down to 35. And since there's so many copies out there, it's going to get really cheap. I mean, hey, my audio cut off for some reason. But yeah, the game is going to get really cheap, and I just see that this game's going to get a big drop off. Anyways, we got some, I think a lot of people that are playing Destiny right now are going to move on over to Advanced Warfare. So I think that's what's going to happen. We got Assassin's Creed coming up. That's a 4-player co-op game with your friends. People will be moving towards that a little bit. And then we have the big game, which is Far Cry 4. And I personally, I'm going to talk about Game of the Year in a different video, but I think that Far Cry 4 is going to be Game of the Year. The media is going to take to it, and it's going to go for it. I don't personally enjoy that type of game, and it's not my Game of the Year for sure. But I do think that that's the game media is going to go for it, and Far Cry 4 is possibly going to be the Game of the Year. The other shot that we have is The Crew coming up in December, and I'll talk about Game of the Year in a little bit further. But anyways, please like and subscribe. I need to get some feedback from people subscribing and liking to know if you want any more of these videos. Anyways, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.
They say that was one of the most
Have
powerful
fun
weapons the Hive ever wielded against us. The Cryptarch's